Hey, welcome back to Just Jump. My name is Chef Kenneth. If you're not familiar with us, we are a group of three creatives coming together. I have my great friends with me. We got Steven behind the camera. Chef Seppi, you're going to see him in a minute. He's on his way. And we're just coming together to share our experiences with you. Jumping forward, making dreams happen, making our vision happen. Collectively and individually as creatives. The things that we've done in the past to make our businesses happen, to travel, and just to have some amazing experiences. And we want to share that with you in hopes that you also will just jump and do what you have to do to make your vision come to pass. So in that, today we're going to be cooking a little bit. We're going to be showing you some inspiration that Chef Seppi and I got from our trip to Barcelona. We're going to be talking to Steven about his trip to Barcelona shooting Fashion Week. He's going to be shooting some awesome footage for us today. Hope you enjoy.
Hey Kenneth. Hey Steven.
Hey.
How we doing?
Pretty good.
It's been a few weeks since we last shot.
Yeah.
And how's quarantine been going for you guys?
I've settled into quarantine, I would say. Like, I kind of gotten used to it, acclimated to it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I start building up a little schedule, a routine. So it's kind of served me. Waking up a little, still kind of later in the day, of course, but I'm still trying to be proactive during this time. So
Yeah.
doing research, doing reading. I've been looking into stock a little bit, during quarantine because the market took a little dip, so it's a good time to kind of look into it.
So a dip from the last time we talked.
Yeah, well, it kind of dips and then it kind of goes back up.
Okay.
So it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. So there's ups and downs within those peaks.
Fluctuating, okay.
But yeah, just doing some research on some individual stocks to see where I want to plant my feet at and just ride with it.
Ride the wave.
Yeah, exactly. So that and working on some personal projects. I may be doing an art show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, it's beginning stages of creating my first art piece. So I kind of had a concept. It starts with a concept and idea.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
yes, I love that.
and some of the building blocks of that. So that's like what I've been kind of focusing on and just trying to stay like kind of positive and focus.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Since the last time we met, man, busy. Kenneth and I have been cooking like crazy. This past week we came up with like about 5 dishes. We cooked I think we cooked 4 dishes in one day.
Wow.
So yeah, man, we've been really focusing on coming up with new ideas, new fresh ideas, getting inspiration from Instagram chefs, getting inspiration from books and stuff like that. But other than that, I've been playing a lot of Xbox lately.
Nice.
So
What game?
I've been playing Madden. I'm a big Madden guy, and I've been
Okay.
playing some Call of Duty Zombies. So
Okay.
letting my anger out from being cooped in all the time.
Are you playing against people like on online?
No, I don't
Okay.
have Xbox Live. I play
Oh, okay.
against just the computer or whatever.
Got it.
But yeah, been doing that, watching some Netflix, Tiger King, all the popular things out there on Netflix.
Catching
Yeah.
up on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a projection screen in my house, and I haven't used it prior to. Well, I've used it in the sense of like showing my artwork, but not really streaming movies. But now I'm like catching myself every night watching movies on this like projection screen. I'm like, yo, I should have been using this
Yeah,
before.
dude,
Like,
sick. I wish I had a projector.
yeah, it's super nice, and I still don't have a couch, so
You
but
make
I'm like,
do.
But I'm like chilling on the floor just watching it. So yeah, like taking those like luxuries a little bit. I feel it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I've watched way too much TV, as most of the world, I believe. But it's been cool, Like Seppi said, we're still creating, still pushing forward. So that's been good for me to stay, because it's that fight, right? It's that fight from not like becoming complacent. It's very easy right now in the season to become lazy even. So like I'm really fighting against that. Like I was telling Steven earlier today, like had you guys not been showing up today, I would probably still be asleep. Not for real, not still right now, but you know, like I felt so tired and lazy today, but super excited, super motivated now that we've actually gotten up and started moving. It was really cool. Seppi and I were sitting here last week just going through once again the creative process, like he was saying, like watching TV shows, looking through books on Instagram, just like what are we gonna create next? And especially that being a different kind of thing right now because it's not like we're creating for something. There's no event coming up. There's no Dine in LA. So it's just like pure, natural, like pulling from anywhere. What do we want to create? So actually, we started talking about Barcelona. And cool thing is that it's a place that all three of us have been to. And so once we started to dive into that, like this creativity just came out of nowhere. I'm super, super excited about the dishes that we came up with in that. But even just excited to talk about like our experiences going, you know, in Barcelona and like, you know, the different things that we did while we were there, why we went, so forth and so on. So, Stephen, I know that you were just there last year. What was that about? What was that like? And can you pause right now? I need to check on something because it smells like it's burning. You want to pull the pavlova out, bro?
Yeah. That don't work that way.
So yeah, Stephen, what was your experience like when you went to Barcelona? I know you were just there last year, right?
Right. Yeah. I went last year in August or July. Beginning of July. It was my second time in Barcelona.
Nice.
So it was really cool. And what was really cool about this experience is that I had a friend there that was staying there, so I got to stay for free. Can't beat that.
What was the name of that?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to have international friends, and they travel because he's not originally from Barcelona.
Okay.
And he was staying there. He was going to school there, so he let me have a room. And actually, he had roommates, but those roommates, the semester was over, left. So I had my own room.
Nice.
Yeah, even better.
Nice.
But yeah, the reason why I went there is I went for Barcelona Fashion Week.
Okay.
That was my first time going for Barcelona Fashion Week. The first trip was out of pleasure. This was work and pleasure. So I didn't know anyone there. I've never been in Barcelona Fashion Week before. I've known anyone that's went through that Barcelona. So it was a new experience for me. It was like jumping all over again when I did Italy, 3 years ago. When I went to Italy for 3 months to shoot fashion.
So how long were you in Barcelona this time?
This time it was a short trip. So I was there about, I think it was 5 days.
Okay.
The show was about 4 days. And I went to Berlin right after for Berlin Fashion Week.
Nice.
So that's why I shortened that trip so I can make it to Berlin right after.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a great experience. I love Barcelona, the culture, the water is right there on the coast, So it's gorgeous and beautiful, and it's like a melting pot of just like great people. During the summertime, a lot of Europeans descend on Barcelona, and Americans go there too. So it's like a whole plethora of just people just enjoying themselves. So I really enjoy the culture and the food, and mixing that with my shooting and shooting fashion photography there. It was a great experience. It was really fun. It was like me jumping all over again. Like I said, like I really had to like figure out what I was going to shoot, how I was going to shoot it, and what it looked like. I was creating, like evolving my portfolio, my book to be more than just I guess still photography. I was mixing video in there as well.
Nice.
Especially for social media, like Instagram, you can put video footage on there. So I was like, I kind of want to dabble back into my video background.
Nice.
So I was mixing up those two mediums together.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
So what is Fashion Week like in Barcelona? Like, how does that work? What is it like? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's almost like a smaller boutique fashion week when you compare it to like New York Fashion Week or Milan Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week or London Fashion Week. Those are ginormous, and so many people descend on those from outside the country. What I felt like Barcelona was a little bit more, I want to use the word, it was, the word that I'm trying to use, what's the word? Is locals.
Okay.
So it's local designers. Sorry, it took me a while to just come up with locals. It was local designers. That's what I felt like. So it felt a little bit more homey in that sense. But other international people do come to Barcelona. It's in neighboring cities, like even Madrid. Designers come over. So it's, but it's definitely felt more local, which I felt like I felt more involved in.
Okay.
Because going there day after day, I'm meeting the same people, the same photographers,
that's cool.
and then it's that one venue. You're not bouncing around across the city from venue to venue to venue to venue. Like that's what you do in Paris and London and New York Fashion Week.
Yeah.
You're constantly moving, and that's like you have to pick between some shows because some shows are going at the same time. This is all done in one venue, which was gorgeous. Venue space. I forget the artist's name, but he's one of the famous artists that created this whole big garden, but it was amazing.
I think that's something that's like really cool about Barcelona in general are like the artists that have come from there. So of course you have Gaudi, which is like Barcelona's like main artist. But there was another artist who spent, I don't think he was from Spain, but spent a lot of time in Spain. And was that Picasso?
Picasso did, yeah. It's amazing to see how artists went through Spain and kind of how it evolved and changed, and you could see it just in their buildings and their structures.
Yeah. I'm not the artist at all when it comes to like structures or paintings or things of that nature. Of course, culinary artist, completely different thing. But I would say like I was fascinated by Gaudi's work. I guess I really like the Gothic look, but I really liked all the colors, going to see Sagrada de Familia, Gaudi's, not cathedral, it's the, what are those things called? A basilica by Gaudi is like, it's mind-boggling. So
amazing.
Good times. So Seppi, what were your thoughts just walking around Barcelona?
Well, the cool thing about being able to go in Barcelona is that my wife and I, we saved up like the past 2 years to be able to go to Europe in general. So that was just being able to go to Barcelona and being able, as a chef, being able to intentionally go to restaurants, go to La Boqueria, and all these little like tapa places.
I love that place.
Was just really cool. It was really like, again, like Steven and Kenneth were mentioning, is that being in a different culture is like, it's so unique. It's like, wow, I get to be a part of this, and I get to eat here, I get to meet people, I get to have conversations with people. Like, that was just so cool.
Yeah.
A couple of the places that we went to, there was this one place, it's called Taller de Tapas. And so, a funny story behind this is that I thought this was a recommendation from Kenneth to go because this place was so good.
I was like, I didn't even know this place. Go ahead.
And so, we ended up going, and it was delicious. What do we have? My wife and I probably got about 3 or 4 dishes. I don't remember all of them. One of them specifically, it was a sunny side up egg with like French fries on the bottom, and what else? And then like some steak. And so you cut open the egg yolk, it gets all messy, and then when you eat it with the French fries, it's like just like this mushy goodness in your mouth.
Right.
But and then also I had a plate. It was like squid, but with like squid ink rice.
Oh wow!
And it was just like, it reminded me a bit of a paella. How there's different seafood mixed into the rice already. So that was really good. But other than that, it was going to the La Boqueria. That place is just amazing. Like, I love fruit.
Yeah.
And going there and getting a fruit cup, like with all these like different kinds of fruit that we can't normally get
and
from
it's
California.
Cheap, right?
Yeah,
like
dude,
€1.
so cheap.
Like
Dude.
when I went there, just to speak on it, like I would go there every day, get my cups of fruit, and then walk to the beach. Right there. Like that was my daily like routine.
Nice. Yes. I love it. And that's a pretty good walk too.
Yeah.
It is a good walk. It's a good distance, but
it's not that far though.
Yeah, when you're chilling,
when you're chilling, you got the time.
But that's the thing about Europe and Barcelona in particular, but Europe all around. Actually, it's just there's so much walking. But when you're like you're on vacation, right? So
Yeah.
like you're not in any hurry. It's not like you have to go to work. So same thing like for me, La Boqueria, like I was overwhelmed. Like I was literally like I told my wife we got to the seafood counter, right? And I had seen so much seafood. I had never seen so much seafood and seen so much fresh seafood in one place at one time.
Right.
It was overwhelming, like literally. So there's like fish juice all over the floor, right? Because there's melted ice and they can the fish in and out. I literally wanted to sit down on the floor because I did not know where to go first. Like it literally overwhelmed me. I was in awe. So yeah, I seen things that I had never seen before. Like they had these fire engine red prawns. Like they were redder than Steven's shirt. Like, and I was like, what is that? So like, out of all the places I've been to, and I've been to quite a few places, La Boqueria is my favorite market in the world. Like it's hands down my favorite market in the world. So like you said, like seeing the fruit counters, then seeing the fish counters, going to get some Alberico ham, like freshly carved. Like it was so much.
Right.
So my wife and I, the first time we went, we had this experience and we called our day. We were like, we're gonna eat Barcelona. Like that was like our whole day was centered around food. So it started off at the La Boqueria. And one of the things that was crazy, this dude, we went and sat at one of the little countertop bars, where people are making fresh food. This dude grabbed those red prawns out of a bowl that had ice in it. So thinking just some fish on the ice. He picked it up, the thing started moving. I had never seen shrimp actually cooked that were still alive. Like all the shrimp we have out here are dead. Like we don't bring alive. Dude took the shrimp straight from the ice. It was flopping and he threw it straight onto the grill. Like, and dude, just like some parsley, some garlic, some butter, some lemon, and cut them open, deveined them, and we had like shrimp right there. It was
That must have been
phenomenal. Like, so like I have all of these really, really good memories of food in Barcelona, right? So like walking to the beach, getting a paella, like paella being amazing. Like all this fresh fish that they had there. As Seppi said, going to different tapas bars, one thing for me I can say is I don't drink. So I hear people doing like pub crawls and like bar hopping and stuff like that, and I've never done it because I don't drink.
Right.
Well, Kira and I, that night we actually went bar hopping because we went from tapas bar to tapas bar, right? And so it's like we walk into our first tapas bar, and you guys can tell me what you guys' first experience was with this because it tripped me out. So I was like, okay, I walk into this tapas bar, or actually a Pinchos bar. Let me correct that, Pinchos bar, and there's just food out on counters, and so I'm like, what is this? How do I do this? Like, where's my waiter? Nobody's coming to seat me, So I finally asked somebody, and they're like, just go get the food and keep your toothpick. And I'm like, keep my tooth. Like, so I'm trying to figure out how much stuff is. Anyway, it ended up being like $1.50 in euros, per piece, and we just kept our toothpick. And so food was amazing, incredibly fresh, and so we just went from place to place, like checking out the different pinchos. Like, probably had like 7 pinchos per location, and we walked all through the Gothic Quarter. It was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, Barcelona. It's when you go in a certain year time, or it's like summertime. It's great to go to the beach. That's where I spent a lot of time at. And, when I wasn't working, I went to the beach and just walked the coastline. Gorgeous water. Like I said, like it's a lot of Europeans descend on that for vacation. So it's just a lot of activities happening. I learned how to play like beach volleyball.
Nice.
Like people go out there and play it every time, but just like the culture and the people is just like really cool and really amazing. And my friend was there, so he was studying there. So he kind of he was still new there. He's been there for a year prior. So he was still new in the sense of not knowing where everything was, but the places where he did know was really great. Like, he took me to a scenic hike, which was great, where all locals go to. There was no tourists up there.
Yeah.
And then just drink and watch the sunset, you know? So just like simple things like that even is like super cool.
Yes.
But yeah, Barcelona is one of my favorites.
Dude, I like, I was telling Kira the first time we left, I was like, man, I can come back for my birthday and just go to La Boqueria and just buy food just to cook for a week. Like, literally just go to cook. Like, I don't care who's here with me besides my wife. Like, just want to be able to just cook. Like, I don't need to do any tourist stuff, although that stuff is great and fun. But I just wanted to be able to cook. Like, so when Kira and I were there, we rented a bike that day when we did the Eat Barcelona thing. And we, like, in between each space, we were just, like, riding our bikes around. So we got to go see a lot of things, a lot of the tourist stuff. And then just eat. Like, we literally ate all day, which is
you guys
crazy.
were able to keep it all down, riding a bike everywhere. I'm like, how are you guys eating 7 different places in one day? All these tapas, like, I'd be full.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Steffi's lightweight. Steffi can't hang. So
I can eat a lot. Kenneth just doesn't think that I can eat a lot, but I
I've
can.
taken Steffi on quite a few
No, yeah.
excursions, and he does his best. But every time it's time to go to that next place, Steffi's like, bro, I'm tapped out. Like, that was enough. I'm like, it's all good. I get it. I get it. For me, I'm like, I want to taste everything. So I'm like, even Kira and I, we would have, and another thing, probably part of the reason why Steffi gets full so quick, and he's gotten better, and I think that's why we've shared so many dishes now. But at first, Steffi does not like to share food. So Steffi's like, no, this is my dish, and this is your dish. And so it's like, yeah, dude, you're full because you ate your full dish.
Right.
Like, we were supposed to just have a few bites, try it out, and move on.
Right.
But Steffi's like, no, I'm going to order this. But he's gotten better.
Right.
He's gotten better.
Better share.
He's a better sharer now. But yeah, Kara, when we went, we were like, I would take a half a bite of a tapa and she would take the other half, and
share it back and forth.
Share it back and forth, and we would move on. Dude, there's so much, like, soccer games in Barcelona. Like,
I wanted to go to one.
I am not a sports fan. I don't do sports. It's not my thing at all. That soccer game, the culture, the energy, like, I don't even use the word energy often. Like, that's a big word out there these days. The energy there was so amazing. Like, it was just like something I've never experienced before.
Did you see Messi play?
Yeah. Oh man, and the Messi fans were they were hyped. Yes. But I mean, just the whole game itself, like, talking about being hyped, like, they don't have cheerleaders. They just have a whole section that I'm assuming are just people that typically come to the game.
Right.
Because they just had their own section, and they had, like, flags and, like, huge banners, like, where, like, they had flags that took, like, 10 people to hold up, and, like, but that was their hype section. Like, the whole section was hype, and Barcelona happened to win the game that we went to go see that night, so it was a lot of fun. But yeah, overall, Barcelona was just fascinating. I could talk for days about Barcelona, especially for food, because it was just, once again, like you said, Stephen, being so close to the ocean, and Seppi, even like what you were talking about, like the fruit, like, just that market was so international. Once again, I could talk about it for days. One thing I want to get a little bit of clarity on from you, Stephen, is, so what, for somebody that knows nothing about Fashion Week like myself, are you shooting like a particular model while they go down the runway? Like, what does that actually look like?
Right. So I think different photographers has different objectives. You know, some photographers are shooting for a certain designer. I got hired to do it. Some are shooting for a network or for a magazine, so they need to just do coverage.
Gotcha.
Me, I was trying to build up my portfolio, expand my portfolio, so I submitted to them and got accepted, you know, through their I guess the agency of Fashion Week in Barcelona, to give me an invitation to allow me to come and shoot. So it was all on my dime. I wasn't getting paid by a designer or any of that. But I wanted to expand my book and be a little bit more creative outside my comfort zone. And I love to travel, so I'm mixing all those things together. So what I did is I love to shoot candid shots backstage. Some photographers like to shoot the runway, which is fun. I did do some of those, but I do more creative shots. I'm not at the end of the runway the whole time because the photographer next to you is getting the same shot as you. So for me, being my creative, I don't want to get the same shot as everyone else. So sometimes I'm in the audience, shooting from the audience perspective.
I like that.
Which is really cool. But I really enjoy the atmosphere backstage. It's hectic. It's crazy. Everyone's running around. And you really can have one-on-one time with the model, with the designers. You can set people up and make creative shots. And like I said before, I was really transitioning to mixing up still photography and video stuff for social media content and whatnot. So now I'm doing like little mock interviews with them. I'm doing like these little creative shots where a little bit of more than just a still photo. Like maybe the photo's moving. It looks like a photo, but then later it moves. Like I took this one shot where this designer, the model, she was holding up candles. And I had her, it's easy to take a shot of her with the candles, with the dress. It looked beautiful, looked great. But I was like, how can I make this a little bit more creative? I added flames to the candles. And the flames moved, of course, because fire moves, you know? So you see the shot and it looks like a still shot, but then the flames are moving.
So you're video and getting still shot at the same time, or how are you blending it, but you're blending the still shot and the video.
And the video together.
That's awesome.
Well, I did it in post. So I shot a flame, I shot on a green screen, and I shot it and then cut out the green screen and put the flame on the candles.
Nice.
But then also I added another level where there was a light that was behind her and I let it flicker and go off. And so she was being illuminated at the end of the clip by the flame of the candle.
That's really awesome. Cool. That's awesome, yeah, because when I'm on your Instagram, I see, like, whenever you're at Fashion Week, I always see those behind the scenes shots. And I think that's dope because, like you said, if I'm looking, typically all I'm going to see is the runway. So, like, I think your thing tells, like, a story, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to give an inside look of the perspective backstage that not everyone gets to see. And there's a lot of, it's showing the personality of the model sometimes. It's showing other creatives in the background, the makeup, the hair, stylists, all doing the work. And I think it is a story. It's the before you actually see the end. And I really can draw a lot of energy and creativity from that mindset and being in that atmosphere. That's awesome. Why I prefer kind of being backstage and shooting it.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I think like something that you said earlier, it's that you went on your dime to create to up your portfolio, you know? And I think I know over the years, that's what Seppi and I have done. That's what I've done since the beginning of starting creations. It's just like, there's so much that I've done on my own dime to continue to grow. Like even what Seppi and I are doing now, as far as I'm creating these dishes, there's, like we said earlier, there's nothing coming up right now. We are on lockdown. So we're literally creating to create our portfolio to continue to grow and continue to develop our skill, right? But just like you took that jump. There was no expense spared. I mean, I'm sure you did it within your means and within your budget, but I'm saying, like, you weren't like, I'm only giving myself a $200 budget to grow myself. Like, no, you bought a plane ticket and went clear across the world to go and shoot these things to expound yourself. I mean, Seppi and I, when we go and travel, we're going with the intention and the mindset. Yes, we're going to spend time with our wives, which are great, and we say all the time, work hard, play harder, and those things are key to our development and to our full-on experience. But we're for sure going places with this idea of or the mentality of a chef. You know, what can I see? How can I learn? How can I grow? How can I immerse myself into this culture? And specifically, whenever Seppi and I go someplace together, we're looking for food culture. So we're always looking at restaurants and so forth. And even when we go with our wives on trips, the same thing. Like, my wife knows we're going to eat good. You know, like, that's one thing that we're going to do. So I love that. I think right now it's a good time to transition into the kitchen and talk about like you said, telling a story. So like I know when Seppi and I were creating these dishes that we're going to be showing you guys today, there were so many stories. Like Seppi and I were working on some. This was really cool. So we developed like we were only planning on doing two dishes.
Yep.
We only planned on doing two dishes, but we're like, oh, we have leftover pavlova. What else can we use that for? Oh, we have leftover octopus. What can we use that for? So there were things where it was like this continuous process, but like you'll be able to see stories transcending through these dishes. Like so, four of the dishes are all based upon Spain. So like Seppi said, the black squid ink rice with the seafood. Something that's big. They do have a squid ink risotto in Spain. So we're going to use squid ink in quite a few applications. Thinking about, once again, just seeing like octopus hanging on lines, something that we don't see here in LA. I've never seen in LA. But something that's huge out there in Barcelona. So that's been cool. Like we have one dish I'll talk about just a little bit where we took the leftover pavlova and we made like almost an island, and so this is based upon like volcanic rock being in the middle of the ocean, and so we're gonna put a curry sauce in the middle of this and the octopus coming out. It really looks to me like a rock in the ocean that like octopus are emerging
cool.
from. So yeah, just we had a great time coming up with stuff, and I felt transported back to Spain. And I think that when we do things like Dine in LA or we're doing private events, our goal is to transport people into these experiences that we've had in life. So that's what we're going to do when we're going to the kitchen today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what I can do,
Yes.
creative-wise
Yes.
and shooting photography-wise, and see what I can come up with. So
I'm looking forward to
I'm
that.
going to guess and see what comes up. You guys will see at the end result what it looks like.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's do it. We're trying to create like a volcanic rock resemblance from Hawaii to go with this dish. All right, guys. So we just did 5 dishes in one day. That was a rush.
It was really cool to see you guys work. I haven't really seen. I've seen it down in LA when I was shooting behind the scenes, but to actually see it from start to finish was pretty amazing.
To create and to conceptualize 5 dishes in a day. Like usually it's like, all right, bro, we got that dish done, and that's an accomplishment, right?
That's the day.
Like that's the day. Like it takes a minute. So to get 5 dishes done, although we conceptualized them the other day and we kind of worked through them a bit, to have them all come together on one day and like to plate them up, and there was even one that we had never even figured out how we were gonna plate, and it was just like the scallop dish. It was gorgeous. I can't wait to see all the video. Like
it was pretty that energy, because I was like, I'm sitting behind the lens, but I'm like, wait, I'm witnessing something. I'm witnessing art. You know, like you're painting with food. Yeah, and that was amazing. And to like come off, for me as a creator, as a media, as a photographer or videographer and shooting, I had to come up with creative ways to actually capture it.
Yes.
And that wasn't pre-planned on me. It was just like, whatever. Like, let's see how we can set this up, you know?
Yeah, that was
even
awesome.
Putting the lights there, that's my first time kind of working with the lights in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool.
It was great. I'm super excited from what you showed me so far. It looks amazing. And once again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, just in this whole pulling all 5 dishes, or actually I'll say 4 of the dishes, were conceived in us just reliving our trip to Barcelona. So I'm fascinated by that, because as we're cooking, like I literally remember sights and smells and sounds, and like all of these memories are flooding, which are like so inspiring, you know? So like as Seppi and I were sitting there creating the dishes originally, like we literally took salt water, you know, because that's what they typically use to make paella in Spain. And authentically, I wouldn't say typically anymore, but authentically or traditionally. And so we took that same salt water and boiled it and made a foam out of it. So like all of these feelings of Spain like really came through, and I think that is what we try to produce every time we do a pop-up, or every time we go into someone's home and we, you know, create a theme. And so it was just fun, and super fun doing that without having an actual need for it, you know. And then I'll throw this in there, like Seppi and I, one of our things this time was, hey, we got this left over from the previous dish. And so like like I said, we were only supposed to be making 2 dishes. And all these other dishes were conceived. Seppi came up with a whole, like I said, we did deviate from the Barcelona thing, because Seppi came up with this like Asian dish, like using squid ink and the yuzu custard and strawberries and black sesame. And it's like you said, like who would have thought that would all work together? And that was a dessert. So well finessed. That was the dessert. Yeah, that was
one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the flavor and the palate. It was like I could taste all the different palates, as well as I really enjoyed the scallop with the
yuzu, not the yuzu, the yuca.
The yuca, yes, that was tasty. That was really, and it was amazing how you incorporated like the salt water. Like I didn't even know that about Spain, and here I am learning in America about things through your dish, which is like an extra plus.
That's cool, and that's like it happens all the time where people come to an event and they're actually learning as they're eating, you know, because there's so much of a story, and that's what I'm so grateful for, is that when we come to dine in LA into those kind of environments, or even if we're going into someone's home and we're doing like a private dinner party, we actually get to have conversation with the people and tell them like, this is where this dish came from. This is kind of the idea and, you know, the story behind the dish. And so like going back to what you're saying earlier, like everything's telling a story, right? And so, and then I think the one thing that I found really cool about that experience and watching you eat is that you seen it, it was like, it's black.
Right.
I don't know about this, right? And so like so many people have come to dine in LA and they're like, I would never eat that. And because it has squid ink or whatever. And I'm like, But they've come to trust me as you trusted me in that moment. I'm like, Steven, just taste it. It's like, it's going to be all right.
Right.
And then they love it, you know? And so I love those moments where that happens.
I was going to just mention that I remember going to your first dine in LA and experiencing the 5 different courses and being like, yo, I've never experienced this before. And you've opened up my palate.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I remember like giving you that or saying that compliment to you, like, before I would never think to try, you know, all these different courses, but my palate is now versatile. So now I want to try different things and when I'm overseas and whatnot.
For sure, I love it.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
I love it. Any closing thoughts? You good? Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have one last thought. Like, speaking of Barcelona, I remember doing down in LA, Barcelona style, and you had the sangria. You know the story. Yes. And man, your sangria was the best.
Thank you.
I've said this numerous times to you before.
It's like, I appreciate it.
So no sangria today, but it was a super bomb. And when I went back to Barcelona this year, or last year, I was like, I gotta try Barcelona because you said he was inspired by it. That's why you made it and whatnot. But I would say yours was better.
I appreciate it. And once again, I mean, even going back to the saltwater story is, there are Barcelona traditions or there's Spanish traditions when someone's actually taking the time and the care to do things properly. Right. So just because you're in Barcelona doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting a true sangria,
right,
or a true paella. You know, and that's not to say that they're not there, because they are. There's places that are doing amazing things, but you got to find them.
Right.
You know, just like we're here, like, just like we're here in LA, and people are like, LA is supposed to have great food. And then you'll go someplace and be like, this is whack. Like, you have some whack tacos in LA.
Right.
You're like, come on, like, I'm in LA. But still, everybody's not doing it right, you know?
Right.
So
you don't want to fall in that tourist trap, you know, where it's just like, we just made this, right, to order, just to shoot it off to the tourists and get you out.
Exactly. Like, you know, my family comes here and they're like, Kenneth, we want to go out for tacos. I'm like, all right, I'm taking you to the street vendor. Like, we're not going to El Torito. Like, you know, like, El Torito is a great brunch. Like, I'm not mad at El Torito, but you're not going to El Torito to get LA tacos. Right. That's not what you're doing, you know? So,
I agree. The challenge was really, really cool for me to get out there and kind of like trying to document it as well as shoot kind of these featured shots. And hopefully you guys get a chance to see it and tell me what you guys think. You know, put your message in the comments and tell me what you think about it, you know. So
hit the subscribe button.
Yes, we're a new channel. So hit that subscribe button.
Please support. Just watch it. We would love to hear what you guys have to say about us and even make us even better at this
for sure.
thing.
More content coming, more traveling coming once we can get out the house. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Perfect. It was great to work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming through. And